Time for another QTN episode. And here's some of the letters sent to the P.O. box I will attempt to address in this video. I'll start off by apologizing for this bootleg location. It sucks. It's loud, there's cars driving by, motorcycles, planes overhead, helicopters, spaceships, probably some shootings nearby. So just bear with me, I'll do the best I can. My first location I went to last week, drove there on the KTM 690. Epic mountains. Man, you're seeing the footage right now. The weather cooperated, I was reading your questions, it was going great, and the battery died. Wah, wah. I know, it sucks. So I didn't get through it then. Here we are now. I'll do the best I can. You're seeing the P.O. box at the top. I do prefer written correspondence because electronic correspondence is really easy to miss. We get so much of it and we miss a lot of it. Sorry. Small staff on this end. It's just the way it is. And also, if you take the time to type it out, single page please only, handwrite it, make it legible. It weeds out the uncommitted. People who really want help will go to the time to write something and need, answers. So do that, please. Appreciate it. Send it to the P.O. box, and I'll get to it whenever I can, just like now. In addition to my advice that I have, which is nothing more than based on my life experience to this point, you're going to get the advice of some awesome TNPers, which happened in the first QTN. People that have life experiences different than my own, different perspectives than my own, and they can help you as well. So keep up with the channel. Watch what's getting posted because the pace is fast. Not as fast as I would like it to be, but it's still fast, and it's easy to miss this video because 3 more will get stacked on, within 2 weeks. Easy, maybe 5. By the way, it's a lot of career advice in this stack of letters, and that's cool. I'm going to do the best I can addressing it. But broaden the perspective on QTN. It's everything. It's not just career advice, it's life advice. Things aren't going good with the family. Mom, dad, wife, husband, whatever. Things aren't going well at work. This sucks, that sucks. I don't know where to turn in this point in my life. In preparedness, what do I do? Where do I allocate my limited funds? Should I do this first, that first? And I'll do the best I can. Now, if you ask your questions, stuff that I've answered in my videos, I'm not going to answer those because you should be watching the videos and glean that information. I put thousands of hours of work into those. They're sortable in the playlists, accessible from the channel page. Just go in there and watch the videos. I won't address that. If I feel like you're not keeping up with the channel, no. Preference is not gear, but life advice. Let's jump into it. Again, I apologize for the noise. I'm just going to hammer through it as best I can. This dude writes, I remember watching your videos back since year 1 when I was 13 years old. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to have to kind of skim the letters so I can get this crammed into a single episode. I'll do the best I can. If I screw up while I'm reading, if I miss an important thing in the letter, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to fit it in as time efficiently as I can. Wow, he's been watching since 13 years old. That's amazing. Crazy how fast time flies. Now I'm a Marine stationed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. That's cool. Haven't been following your channel as much of late. I'm sure you understand. Training command doesn't leave me as much time to sit in front of YouTube. I get it. I tuned in to check up on the last year and a half. I'm not surprised to see you're still cranking out quality videos, doing what you love, and living a life of adventure. I try. I want to live a life that I look back on when I can't live it anymore and go, yeah, I did it right. I don't have any regrets. I got out and adventured. I did stuff. I helped people. Yeah, it motivates me. I like it. It's kind of like that video years ago I talked about in an update. I think it was called The Surprising Truth of What Motivates Us. Go watch that video. It's awesome. He says, the Marine Corps threw me into a job that I'm not particularly fond of. Imagine that in the military, not giving you your first preference. Amazing. I'm a super pog, he says, POG. I don't have much control over my military career. I don't want to sound like I'm bitching about my job because it can be pretty good training when it's transferred to the civilian world. I work with computers, but I'm an outdoor dude, and working inside all day isn't too much fun. The reason for my letters is I'm having trouble deciding what to do when I'm a civilian in 2018. He's like, I'm earning my BA in the Marine Corps. The trouble is I don't know which major to pursue. Study computer science, information technology, because combined with my military experience and certifications, it would set me up for a well-paying civilian job. Then he goes on and says, however, this isn't really something I want to do for the rest of my life. I don't know about you, but working outside and using my hands sounds more appealing. At the same time, I want to do something that pays well, something I'll have to work hard for, go to college for, something where I won't be stuck in the monotony of the cubicle city life. I'm going to stop right there and address what you've said so far. What do I choose, Nutn? Do I choose a job that keeps me outside, that I work with my hands, or do I choose, let's just say, the cubicle life? Better paying, a white-collar job versus a blue-collar job is how I'm going to term it. Me, my perspective, life experience says, go for the white-collar job, the better-paying job. That's what I'd say. I would probably look very carefully at any job where you're working outside with your hands, as you put it, every day, and you rely upon those said hands to make you money. Now, for lack of a better term, I'm calling it a blue-collar job, and it's an hourly wage. There are some really good ones that pay very well. You could be a contractor, you can be a construction worker, you can be a roofer, you could be whatever. But don't kid yourself. It's extremely hard work, and you've got to stay healthy to keep working. That's one of my key points here. I knew a dude, he was a roofer, and I don't know if I've referenced this in previous videos. He fell off the roof and was injured critically. He was able to recover, but he has like rods in his spine, and he is on disability for the rest of his life. Needless to say, he's done roofing. So that job, which he may or may not have loved, that paid the bills, he can't do anymore because he was injured. A white-collar job, on the other hand, let's say it's information technology, you're a network engineer, you are a web maker, a webmaster, all of which can pay very well. You can do those in a wheelchair, and people do those in a wheelchair. Money gives you freedom. The more money you make, the better, I won't say the better off you are, because there's people who make lots of money that are miserable in life, but it gives you freedom and opens up doors. It gives you the ability to, in your free time, on your own terms, when and wherever you want, go out and live your outdoor life. You know, you say now, well, I want to live outside and, you know, work outside. Well, you do that day in, day out, 40, 50 hours a week, you may not like it so much anymore. When you make your recreation your work and you rely upon that work to pay your bills, you may find that you don't enjoy it anymore. Watch in the comments, you'll see people agree with that have done that. Like, yeah, I should have just left that as my, you know, my hobby, whatever, my recreation. Now it's my work, and now what do I do for fun? Go for the white-collar job, the better-paying job. Use that experience in the military, Marine Corps, gave you some good training. Springboard off of that into better training, certifications. Build your resume as strong as you can. Get your job. Then get your mountain bike, get your backpacks, get your motorcycles, go out and live life when you get free time. And get a good career, which will give you that free time. Okay, let me finish off with him. He goes, one of my goals is to move to New Zealand and live there for a couple years. I say, do it. Go, man. But I mean, how are you going to do it without money? You could move down there and work there, and I think that's what you're talking about, dude. I say do it, because if it's a burning desire that you want to do, awesome. The things you're going to learn living in New Zealand, we talked about New Zealand last QTN too, didn't we? They're going to be amazing. You're going to meet the amazing people in New Zealand. You're going to see the beautiful land there is. They're so laid back, and there's so many things we can learn by going to other cultures and really immersing ourselves in their cultures. America is not all that. I mean, it is for freedom. I love that, but our perspectives are very narrow. The way we do things in life are somewhat very limited. It's good to get out. And you'll see how other people live in their lives. You understand their perspectives, their political perspectives, their perspectives on life. And you broaden as a human being. When we should be broad, we should be open-minded. And we should say, you know, they do this better. Their approach to life in this respect is better. It will also make you grateful for the United States of America when you come back, because then you can own your guns in most states. You can go out and shoot in most states. You have the freedom to do things that perhaps in other countries, not necessarily New Zealand, to do. If you want to go to New Zealand, I say do it. You can find work down there. You can find software work, network work, computer network work. One career I was looking into is a petroleum engineer. That sounds awesome. I found out I know that he gets it, but I know that money gives you security and allows you to pursue your dreams. Wow, I wish I would have read that. I would have saved you the speech. You get it already. Yes, it does. It does. Like living in New Zealand or owning cool guns and knives. I mean, being a whitewater rafting tour guide sounds like it would be kick-ass, fun job, but I don't feel like it is a financially responsible choice for a lifelong career. I'll address that real quick. I know a lot of great people, friends of mine through the years, that pursued careers like that. Not careers, but jobs. You mentioned whitewater rafting guide. You could be a ski lift operator. Been there, done that. You know, a ski team, whatever. It's a great thing to do. It's not a great place to live for the rest of your life. And I would do it all over again. Whitewater rafter at a certain, whitewater rafting guide at a certain time in your life will make a lot of sense. Early in your life, when you're young, when you don't have kids, when you don't have a lot of financial obligations, that's when you do it. And you'll be glad you did it. The things you learn, the people again you meet and learn from, huge. He ends by saying, I like to work, never worry about money, but still enjoy life and happiness. I'm no way suggesting becoming... Oh, you went to the back side of the page, dude. Hey, slacker, I'm extremely motivated to work hard. Thanks for your time and insight. Look forward to hearing from you. Respectfully, Ryan. That's my advice for Ryan. Gotta move on. Hey, thank you for your service in the Marine Corps. I wish you the best of luck, dude. Pursue, a job that you enjoy. Now, don't have a job, you mentioned the cubicle life, don't have something that you just hate, because it's going to sap the happiness out of your life. You need to make some changes in. But there are software jobs and network jobs that you can enjoy they're great companies. They have benefits, they'll have vacation off, and you'll get a decent wage where you can have freedom. Next letter. He writes, Colonel, you can call me dude. I feel more comfortable with that. My name is Jeremy Meier. I was born and raised in northern Minnesota. I like Minnesota, it's cool. Not so much in the winter, of course. I joined the U.S. Navy out of high school, served 10 years, and left to go back to southern Minnesota. I'm currently married with 4 sons and serving as a full-time firefighter EMT. It's a cool job. I found TNP in January 2013 while looking for information on high points. Please keep the scorn and laughter to a minimum. What? We love high points here in TNP. They're affordable, they work. They're heavy and grotesque in appearance, but they work. Proved that here, didn't we? After leaving the Navy, I had my fill of combat and firearms in general. I can understand that. We talked a little bit about that in last QTN, I think, about the combat aspect. Yes, I'm in a different location now. With my cool sun hat. Love this thing. Having grown up with a father who was a Vietnam vet and a drill instructor, firearms were a way of life in our house. Camping, fishing, hunting, farming were the things you live for after the winters were over, writes Jeremy. Now to the point, I want to say thank you with all my heart. I had lost my way and was not serving my boys the way my father did for me. My oldest was 12 at the time and had been camping twice in his life. Since 2013, things have changed. Weekly day hikes, canoe trips, camping, and fishing have become the norm in Jeremy's family, he says. That's cool. Firearms training is going quickly, with the 2 older boys passing through the tadpole testing this fall, and the younger 2 learning as well. Now, if you guys don't know what that is, again, you're probably behind in the videos. That was posted about 4 years ago. It's called Children of the Gun, How to Teach Your Children Firearm Safety. The first stage is called what I've always called the tadpole phase. The name still cracked me up. So he's taking his kids through. Man, that's really good to hear. Birthday and Christmas money that was being saved for video games now goes to knives, camelbacks, paddles, and Marlin rifles. Wow, what a great dad. Cooking, sewing, engine repair classes are also in the mix. Youth run and gun obstacle courses, backyard with bows, tomahawks, Red Riders, caused concern for the neighbors at first. They used, now they walk past, not with head shaking, but cheers for good marksmanship. You have cool neighbors, Jeremy. Real running guns are this fall at Dad's farm up north. We had an acronym in the Navy, AUR, all up round. It meant that a weapon could be unboxed and used with no need for any checks or assembly. Your work with TNP has made me a better parent. Thank you, Colonel. Thank you for writing that, and I'm humbled by that letter. Very cool. I'm gonna have to go probably a little bit quicker if I possibly can, so we can get through a few more letters. I'm not gonna get through this whole stack, I don't think, if I'm gonna keep it to, I don't know, 45, 50 minutes. This is a handwritten letter, check this out.
Well, I know.
Pretty cool, huh? And the person, let me see if I can find his or her name. It is Jeffrey. Jeffrey, do you want me to say your last name? I'll just say Jeffrey W. Hey Nutn, I felt the need to write you about this one. First of all, I've included some funds to you for IHF Initiative, and then he had this clipped. And by the way, any IHF stuff, that's all I use it for. If you say, hey IHF, that's all it goes for. And since you're watching this video, this is what I'm gonna do right here. I was gonna put it on the B channel, I'm gonna do it right now. If you have a submission, a suggestion of someone you know, preferably a non-family member for IHF, I want you to do the same thing that these people are doing. I want you to send it to the P.O. box, make it half a page, because you can see it takes time to get through this, and nominate that person. Keep it in the continental United States if you can. We'll look at it. It's got to be in written form. It's got to go to the P.O. box, and then we may show up on their doorstep and disperse your funds to them. The reason I do this is because we've tried to give away the IHF money within the last 6 months, and we've interviewed some people, and we're more careful, you know, with your money, and we want to make sure that they're qualified. So maybe you guys can help us with that. That's what we're going to do now, subject to change. Send it to the P.O. box, attention IHF, and if you have a recommendation of someone you know, tell us why they're an impressive human. What do they do to serve other people? How are they cool? You know, how are they inspirational? It can be a family member, but since, you know, the accusation could be made, you have something to gain by the money, it's probably best you're not related to these people at all. Pressing on. For your IHF initiative, I think your work there is vital and impressive. Thank you. Now back to the earlier point. A couple weeks ago, I decided to go on a 13 to 14 mile bike ride on a trail near home. I've never been on this one before. As I start to ride, I go about 100 yards and I remember I don't have my medical kit. I go back to my truck and get one of my level 1 kits. The adventure begins, he says. So I start on my trip. About a mile into this ride, a couple passes me and we exchange greetings. Another couple miles up the trail, I see them stopped, picking up something from the plants. I stop and ask the lady, sorry, it's handwritten, so I'm working through this. Typing kind of helps me just so I can read it faster on air. As I continue on the trail, I hear behind me a loud yell and a crash. It is my intrepid bikers from earlier. This guy took a big tumble after missing a 6-inch uneven point in the roadway. Been there myself, by the way. Happens when you're mountain biking. I turn around and go back. There are a couple drivers that have stopped to offer help. He tells them he's okay, but he's got some scrapes and road rash and otherwise all right. He's bleeding pretty good though from his right elbow. I ask him if they have a medical kit. All I get is stares. No kit. Huh. Imagine that. People going out without a first aid kit. That's standard. As you're seeing, it's just standard. It's not me. I always have one. When I go to a place like that, when I'm adventuring, if I'm close in town or something, like right now I don't have a level 1 first aid kit. Freaking hear the ambulance. He's like 20 seconds away if I need him. I took off my backpack and pull out the level 1. As he sees me pulling out the tape, sterile dressings, gloves, iodine, he comments, "Man, you sure are ready." I smile and think to myself, thanks to Nutn I am. Without your videos and guidance over the years, I wouldn't have been prepared to help. Willing, but unprepared. Good point. I'm glad I was able to help. As many have said before, thank you, brother. I'm a better servant to society and those around me because of you. Keep taking care of your wife, your boys, and yourself. With highest regards, Jeffrey W. Awesome. He is called Paracords and More and Never Quit Ever on YouTube are his channel names. Thanks, dude. Great letter. I appreciate it. I'm so glad that there's so many people that watch the project that are more prepared. That is one of my tenets here. I want you to be ready to serve as a sheepdog and to help. If I was a person that crashed on that trail and I was unprepared, I would love it that a guy like you would roll along and put a dressing on me, and it makes you feel good, doesn't it? Makes you feel good. This next letter comes from Greater England, UK. And the dude's 14. Hey dude, you probably thought I wasn't going to read your letter, right? It's from Sam Farmer. It's Mr. Cool Guy 2303 on YouTube. He says, I've been watching your vids since around 2009. Jeez, dude, you were young. When my house first got a computer, I was only 9 years old then. There you go. At first, I think I was just interested in guns. Anyways, the things you have said have had a lot of influence on who I am. I have a great father, but you were like a second father figure to me. Thank you. Probably not a great second father figure, but I try. I live in the suburbs of London, UK. Try my best to explore the world as best I can. Generally enjoy my life. This is what he asks. I would like to go into emergency services, I think. Problem is, I'm not sure which one. I could go for police, ambulance, fire. They all operate independently in the UK. However, there's obviously disadvantages to all. I know you have experience with LE, so what do I go for? There's a lot of cuts in this country, so it'll be hard to get the job. However, my father has said he will pay for my university and I can pay him back. Is there any advice you could give me? This is another career letter. That's cool. We'll broaden as we go along in QTN. It really depends on what you want to do. You know, and what Sam wants you envision yourself doing. I mean, when you dream about your future, when you dream about, you're only 14 now, and you dream about your adulthood, what do you see yourself doing? And like I said in the last QTN, talk to the folks that do that job and ask them for the upsides and the downsides. Again, your eyes will be opened. And there's big downsides to every job. For instance, a police officer in the UK, I mean, imagine just dealing with basically the lower elements of society as a police officer. That's what they do, generally. They'll interact with the general public, but you interact with people who have issues, and that's what you deal with. Day in, day out, it weighs on you. It is a burden. There is a risk. You can get shot, you can get killed, you can get stabbed. There's that. You know, and a lot of ways, all the EMS does that as well. The fire, the paramedics, they are responding to things which, shall we say, are unpleasant. And they're also responding to situations where they get to help out a lot, where it's just an unfortunate event, a crime. The people involved are great people, and that's what they live for. Research it. I think the idea that you're 14 years old and you're even thinking about this is huge. Huge. Because most kids your age are on the video game, you know, and I think you said that. I kind of skipped it. While most people my age sit around playing on their Xboxes without a care for their lives or careers, I think is what Sam Farmer says. Well, good on you, dude. Pick the one you want. It's hard. I'm not going to tell you which one because they're all excellent. They all serve society. They're all useful. Talk to them, though. Talk to these people at 14. Walk up to a police officer, say, hey, what do you like about your job? What do you hate about it? Same for ambulance, paramedic, EMT. Get your eyes open. Dear Nutnfancy, after seeing your latest career video, I thought I'd write. I'm moving to Salt Lake City to become an Army ROTC student at Westminster College. I've gathered lots of data points out there about the area, the college, the ROTC unit, and the military before making my decision. I can't wait to go there. This is Ian S., he writes. My career life question has to do with the path I should take after military service. I'll try to skip ahead for time. He says his dad was also a police captain, or is. Mom is a very involved science teacher. I hope that in my life I'll have a career that serves society. Let me talk to that really quick. I don't want to sound like in QTN that if you don't have a career that directly serves society, like police officer, law enforcement, military, that it's not a worthwhile career. That's not, we need to expand that. When I say serve society, I mean you are providing a service which helps people. Whatever that is. It could be something really direct, like a paramedic showing up on scene and saving a dude's life. You know, like when Last Suspect wrecked in the canyon, it wasn't his life, but they were helping him with his leg. You know, that's a cool job. It serves directly. I like that. That's kind of the path I chose in the military, although it was more of a combat-oriented path with the U.S. Air Force, being a pilot and all. It doesn't have to be that way. There's a lot of civilian capacities. You just simply ask your question, do I provide a valuable service to society? And if the answer is yes, it's a worthwhile job. So I don't want to see so narrowly focused on that. I had to throw that in. The first part of my question is, when should I plan on transitioning from a military career to a civilian one? My goal is to business major in geology, become an Army infantry officer. It'll be difficult, but it's why did you choose to stay in the Air Force for such a long time versus pursuing a civilian career? Excellent question. His is, when do I bail from the military in this particular letter? I was really at a junction in my life to say, you know, I got to the end of my Air Force commitment. I upgraded to instructor pilot in the KC-135. I was an evaluator pilot. And I got to the end of my commitment. That is, I could get out of the Air Force. And I said, do I go active duty? Do I get out and go into a reserve component? Do I pursue a civilian job concurrently with the reserve job? I chose the latter. As we've talked about here in QTN, in the military, you do not have freedom. And I think that last letter said it as well, the Marine. You go where they say, you do what they tell you to, you fight the wars, which you may or may not agree with, and that's your life. I didn't like that. I'm kind of a rebel that way. I wanted my freedom back. I wanted my freedom for my family to go where I wanted to go. I did and still do believe in serving and paying my debt back to society. That's just me. That's my value system. I wanted to serve in the uniform, and if that meant going to war, whatever, did it. I checked that box, and after that box was checked, and for me, my commitment is around the 10-year point. I was like, now it's time for me to make a life for my family. Because when I'm deploying 6 months at a time in the U.S. military, that's not really a great life for your family. In fact, it downright sucks. You know, your family pays a heavy price, and there's a chance if you're an infantry guy, whatever, motor T guy, and you get blown up, you don't come back, obviously. So now I filled the square, and now it's time to get out. So I punched. Now, while I did that, I got into the National Guard because I did have 10 years invested in the military. I would like a retirement, and that was factored into my decision. I was like, I think I'll go and finish my commitment out to get a retirement, which would be 10 more years in the reserve component. For me, it was a Utah Air National Guard flying KC-135s. Again, during that time, deploying, supporting the combat efforts, whatever was going on during the 10 years I did that. And I would do it all over again. I recommend you probably do the same thing. Get in, serve your time, start putting feelers out into the civilian world, find out which job you'd like to springboard into, pursue it. You filled the square, you served, and be happy. Now, I know of people who do go to retirement their whole time, active duty, but it's a hard road to hoe. Number one, for me being an officer, a pilot, they wanted me to go and be a squadron commander. Now, I was in the reserve component, but still same thing. They said, hey, we want you to be squadron commander. We want to groom you for future leadership. But in order to do this, you're going to have this school. You're going to have this, broadening experience. Go serve a tour in the maintenance side of the house. That is aircraft maintenance. So you understand the force concept, at least in the Air Force. Now, the Army, I would assume, is the same way. They want a broad leadership experience for you. And that just did not coincide with the vision I had for my family. That did not put me where I wanted to do. It put me on the road more. It put me studying crap I didn't want to study. I didn't need to study. Air Command and Staff College, I said thanks, but no thanks. Also, like I talked last QTN, the political correctness of the military is just out of control. And here I am as a squadron commander standing up and selling it to my guys. Hey guys, you need to do this. This is the way to be. You know, all that bull crap coming down. No, I said thanks, but no thanks. They kept pushing me. I said, no, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. And I didn't. I punched. I did make it to retirement though, so that's cool. But I retired out of a reserve component, so I don't get my retirement until age 60, which is 2 years away. Kidding. After the Army, there are a couple fields that interest me, he writes. First, would like to work for the FBI. One of my pipe dreams is to be an FBI SWAT team, preferably in Salt Lake City. I gotta talk about this. And I'm very leery of federal agencies. Sorry. With the way they're going and the things you might be asked to do as an FBI SWAT guy, you need to look at that very closely. We're talking about the military and doing things that don't coincide with your belief system.